SREI representing 5% of the total paid-up equity share capital. That is for SREI Equipment Finance. So SREI Infra is looking at buying back that stake from BNP Paribas. Mr. Tulsian is on the line. Mr. Tulsian, I'm still digging out some more details from the press release, but what would be your initial thoughts and how do you rate SREI's Equipment Finance business to begin with?
See, actually, we need to see the more details, coming in from all this one. But I don't think that their equipment finance has been doing very well at all. In fact, if you see the consolidated results which they have been posting, the infra equipment income has seen on a continuous fall. And that is probably the reason, this BNP Paribas may be wanting to exit. Because the details which we are extracting from the balance sheet of SREI Finance, they have these investments of about 175 crore in this company. If I presume that to be as 50%, then definitely the same amount is invested by the BNP Paribas also. So I think taking all this into consideration, this can be called that the exit has been given to BNP Paribas, which is not seen very positive for this.
Tulsian, there are two parts to this deal, so let me quickly read this out. BNP Paribas Lease Group shall sell its entire 50% shareholding in SEFL, that's SREI Equipment Finance Limited, to SREI at a price which will be in accordance with the RBI pricing guidelines for a consideration equal to the total consideration of which BPLG, that's BNP Paribas Leasing Group, will pay for acquiring 5% equity shares of SREI at a price. So it seems that the deal, Virender is also with us. I think he's already gone through some of the details. Virender, first of all, explain this deal, the 5% that BNP is also looking to buy.
It's very simple, okay? Mr. Tulsian, as we explained earlier also, that BNP paid 775 crores to buy that 50% stake. Now what they're saying is that the consideration for that 50% will be 5% of SREI's market cap, okay? And then the price will be calculated according to the SEBI formula. So in a very simple language, if the market cap of SREI Infra right now is 2,700 crores, we have to, of course, go back and just do calculation in terms of the weekly high-low for the 26 weeks or so. But on a ballpark number, 5% of 2,600 crores, which is the current market cap of SREI Infra, that works around 130, 140 crores. So even if you give 3,000 crores, that could mean what, 150 crores. So I am just unable to understand that BNP Paribas paid 775 crores in 2007 for 50% stake. And now SREI is buying back that 50% for 5% in SREI Infra listed entity as a consideration, which works out roughly
to just
around 150 crores.
Mr. Tulsian, do you find any logic in this? Let me ask actually Virender. Virender, from the looks of it, does this seem to be an absolutely cashless transfer that all SREI has to do is part with 5% of equity, which in this case, as you're saying, is working out to be just 150 crores? From the looks of it, is there any other cash payout from SREI to buy back this 50%?
There is nothing. It's just said, okay, the press release says the same thing, that the consideration for 50% stake in BNP Paribas, which SREI as a company will buying back, will be 5% equity of the listed entity. So I don't know how the mathematics will work. I think Mr. Tulsian may shed more light on this.
Mr. Tulsian, what's your sense, sir? What we understand is, and I'm again reading this out, BNP Paribas Lease Group shall sell its entire 50% shareholding in SREI Equipment Finance to SREI and in turn would be acquiring 5% equity shares of SREI, of course at a price that will be arrived at depending on the prevalent regulatory formula. Does it make sense to you at all?
See, Surabhi, if you just quickly go through and if you summarize the whole transaction, as I said, and as the Virender has explained it, if you just take the exit, in fact, this is just purely an exit given to the SREI Infra, to the BNP Paribas by the SREI Infra. And the consideration for that is worked out at 140 crore because this is a simple swap. The 50% of the equipment finance stake is being swapped into 5% of SREI, that is a holding company, or that's a parent company. But if you go on the balance sheet of the SREI Infra, what I'm gathering there, they have shown a net worth of 1,104 crore for this company. Because if you go to the investments...
Mr. Tulsian, I'm sorry to come in over there. Let's try and see if we can get more clarity from Mr. Kanoria, who's